Hey everybody, today I want to do a really quick review of Dominion, one of my favorite games, and it's actually been a lot of people's favorite games for a while now. Fantastic game. Uh, Donald Carino. There's been a bunch of expansions as well, which are really fun. You can add, mix and match the cards, etc., etc. It really is a deck building game, so if you've ever played Magic or anything like that, where you play with cards and you accumulate cards to make nice sets and things like that. This might be right up your alley. You'll see right over here, I've kind of split it up into this little place here, just because I have I have two expansions right now, and these boxes are great, but it doesn't really fit too much more than one set, which is fine. So I organize them here. Um, and the cool thing is each set has a bunch of cards that you can use. I think they each have, I can't really count super quickly, but I don't know, 40 to 60 cards, somewhere around there. 40 to 60 different types of cards. So basically, what this game does is you end up picking up 10 different cards from any of the sets that you own. Randomize them. The way we like to play is we'll each make our picks, just the generic picks to put on the table, and then we each get to veto one and replace it with something else. This way nobody gets any kind of, I don't know, I guess special cards that they always play, so it kind of randomizes it a little bit. Other times we just shuffle all the cards from one set, pick out 10, veto one, and then just go. The combinations are almost endless, depending on how many cards you're pulling from. So each card in the game will have like a set. So these are all the cards that you're going to be using. So you're going to have 10 different piles for these are all action cards that you can use. Then you have these three. Mind you, this is for the base game. There's three sets of money, so there's copper, silver, and gold. Copper's worth 1, silver's worth 2, and gold's worth 3. And then you have the three victory card things there, which are state, duchy, and province. So you can win the game. Actually, let me go that way really quickly, and then we'll take a step backwards from there. You can win the game if this whole pile is depleted, and then you add up all the victory points, and whoever has the most wins. You can also win if you deplete up to 3 of these. It does include these as well, but those barely ever get depleted. Maybe in a game of 4 they will, but usually they don't get depleted. It is a 2 to 4 player game, which is great. 2 players is very fun. I would say that 3 is probably the sweet spot. 4 is also fun, but then you're kind of waiting for it to come around the table to go back to you, but it's still really fun. 2, I would say, is probably the least fun, but that doesn't mean anything. It's still really fun. 2 player is actually fun too because it moves a lot quicker. You can anticipate kind of what you're going to do next, and there's a really good back and forth with the 2 player. Although the winning or losing gets a little bit more obvious, but still fantastic. Because what really makes the game is these cards here, is which action cards are brought to the table. So we're just going to look at one really quickly. Let's look at this one here, Festival. So now on the bottom left, it's actually going to tell you the cost of the card. So you're going to start with cards in your hand. You're going to draw 10 cards. 7 of them, actually I'll go back over here. So 7 of them are coppers, so everybody starts with 7 coppers, and then you also get 3 estates. So you basically start with 3 victory points at the beginning of the game, but everybody does, so that's good. Now, the interesting thing with the estate cards is that they have no value other than the victory points. So obviously later in the game, as you're getting more of them, they're going to start clogging your deck, even though you need to collect them because that's how you're going to win the game. But they're worth nothing during gameplay, only at the end. So that makes it very interesting. So everybody starts with that hand, right, with 10 cards. And I'm just going to do a hypothetical right here. So 1, and we each draw 5 cards is your hand, where your hand starts at. So we'll do 5 cards there. Alright, so in this hand I have 3 coins, 3 coppers, and then these are nothing. So I have 3 coppers. So now I'm going to look on the board, and I'm going to look at all of them that are worth, or cost 3 or less. So usually you organize the most expensive and something like that, but you can organize these however you like. Do whatever you like and whatever's easiest for everybody else that's playing. So for 3, I'm going to actually end up buying this one, which is a village. Gives me 1 more card and gives me 2 more actions. I'm going to explain that in a second. But when you make a purchase, you can't play it on that turn unless the card specifies that you can. So you bought it, you spent everything else that was in your hand, and you just put everything aside. That's your used pile, and then this is your deck. So let's just go back 1 more step here. So the first step in your hand, we're going to pretend we came back around. It's basically A, B, C, D, kind of, sort of, okay? So the first thing that you can do in your turn, when it's your turn, is you're going to draw 5 cards, right? And you are going to do A. A is an action, so basically it means that you can play any action card that you have in your hand. The beginning of the game right here, I don't have any action cards, so I can't do A. So B is buy, so that's the buy phase. So I have 4 coppers, so I can buy something over here. That's 4. So I'm going to go after the smithy because I know that later in the game, when I use it, I'm going to be able to get 3 cards, the text in the middle there. So that's nice because it lets you pull more cards. Definitely going to let you pull more money, and it might actually let you pull more action cards to use later. So that's B, is the buy phase. C is when all that's already done. You've played an action, you've bought something. C is clear. So now you take all your cards that you used that turn, and you're going to put it in your clear pile. And then D is the last step. And usually you just kind of shuffle these. I'm not going to shuffle them, I'm just going to do that. D is draw, which means you're drawing back to 5. So I'm just going to flip them over just for the purposes of the game. Obviously these are going to not be exposed like this when you're actually playing. It's going to deal them to yourself and you're going to look at them. So that's 4, and that's 5. So now it's my turn again. No action. I don't have any action cards. I'm going to go straight to the buy phase. I have 3. So this time I'm going to buy a village. Villages are very powerful. So what this does is it gives you 1 more card when you use it later, and you get 2 more actions. So as I stated earlier, when you're doing your action phase and you can play an action card, there are going to be some cards just like this one that are going to give you 2 additional actions. So if I were to play this card, I would actually have the 1 action that I would use to play the card, and I'd actually have 2 more actions to play. So if I had more action cards in my hand, I would be able to play those and continue it. So one good strategy, at least one that me and most of my friends enjoy, is picking up cards that give you additional actions. So basically it gives you more turns to play more of these cards, which will give you more stuff. So like the market gives you 1 more card, lets you play 1 more action card if you want, which is awesome. Gives you 1 more purchase. That is one thing that I didn't mention earlier, is regardless of what you have in your hands, you can only make 1 buy. You can only buy 1 card. Even if you can afford 10, you can only buy 1. So you only get 1 purchase during the buy phase. Unless you have a card like this that you just played. So you just played this one. So that's your action, right? And now you can buy something. This is actually letting you buy an additional card, which is nice. And it's also letting you play an additional action card. And it's letting you draw another card from the pile. And if you see the last one, it shows like a little 1. It's also worth 1 copper. So it's going to add 1 more to your purse. Or wallet, or whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of the real basics of the game. So you'll see up here that even the copper, silver, and gold on the bottom left, this one costs 0, this one costs 3 to buy, and this one costs 6. So early in the game, that's going to be kind of the issues. You're not going to have enough money to buy all the stuff that you really want. You'll see some of the more expensive ones, they're a little more powerful, give you more stuff. So getting 5 on a given turn is going to be really difficult. So you might want to pick up some silver or some gold early in the process. Although later in the game, you don't want to be stuck with a ton of coppers because they're only worth 1. I mean, you can draw a hand of 5 and draw 5 of those, but it's only worth 5. That doesn't do too much. Versus if you had a hand of 5 and you had 2 golds, you'd be at 6. and you still have 3 other cards giving you the stuff. So it's a lot of law of averages, and then you want to kind of see who's buying what, why are they buying it, watch the other players, see if they're like combining this card with this card and then playing that card and doing some stuff. I've seen people do combos where they're going off one action to another action to another action to another action to another action, and done a whole sequence of maybe 15 cards back to back. So it is very, very possible as long as you draw the cards and you play them in the right sequence. This is also a very, very powerful card here, Throne Room. Choose an action card in your hand and you play it twice. So let's say we picked up the Smithy like we saw earlier, which is plus 3 cards. You would play the Throne Room first, because that needs to be associated with an action card, so you'll associate it with this one, and you'll actually double that, so you're actually getting 6 cards. So Throne Room is very powerful, but it's one of those cards that you want to really be strategic about when you're playing it, and you don't want to just use it just to use it. The other problem with this one is it requires another action card. So let's say you pull this and the rest of your cards are all coppers, then this card is useless because you don't have an action to play with it. So sometimes you're going to find that that's going to happen when you start accumulating a lot of cards, a lot of money, and a lot of victory points. Because you're going to find sometimes that you're not going to have an action card to play off of anything else. So that's where you want to be strategic and really have a really balanced deck, and maybe grab some Smithies and things like that just in case, where it lets you grab more cards from your deck. The more you can grab from through your deck and kind of go through it, the higher the probability of drawing the card that you want will happen. So hopefully I didn't make this sound too difficult. You take 10 sets of cards, you play with those. Those are all the action cards you're going to use to do stuff with. You're going to get money along the way, purchase money along the way, and then the end goal is to collect as many of these victory cards, so when the game is done, you have the most points. So it's very easy to get caught up here, but always pay attention to what people have for these. The one thing that I really like about this game is because everything goes either in your deck or it's in your use pile. Once you start playing, everything's going to be on top of each other. You're not going to remember how many victory cards people have because you're never really going to see much of it. So there's been many times where you think you've won the game, you get to the end, you add everything up and you're like, wow, I did not pay attention to what everybody else had. That's how it goes. Plays quick. Most of the time we'll play in about 30 minutes, 4 players. Maybe you want to add another 10-15 minutes. Seasoned players will play very quickly, and you'll easily be able to, come up with your next hand way before it gets back to you. And then other people take a little bit longer to decide what they want to buy and how they want to play. All of these here are very basic cards. There are some more competitive cards over here where you could steal cards from somebody else, or you can make them, get rid of some of their cards, or you could take a card from them. There's a bunch of different ones. Some cards are nastier than others, but definitely at least be in agreement with what cards are in play, or at least really read all of them before you start playing, so you really understand what's going on. But like I said, if it takes 30 to 45 minutes, you'll play, it'll be a blast, it was super fun, and then you could quickly, come back out and play another game. So it's definitely one of my favorite games. A lot of variety. I love deck building type games, and this one just plays quickly. There's definitely a little bit of skill, but a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.